Hi, I'm Brandon Poe, founder of Poe Group Advisors and creator of the Accounting Practice Academy. You are listening to the Accountant's Flight Plan podcast, where we talk about stuff in the accounting world. If you're looking to buy or sell a practice, we are the premier accounting practice intermediary firm in the industry. Check us out at pogroupadvisors.com. If you're a firm owner looking to build a more profitable practice while actually reducing owner hours, sign up for our practice management workshop, which only runs a few times per year. Learn more at accountingpracticeacademy.com. Welcome to the Accountant's Flight Plan podcast. I've got an interesting topic and a very interesting couple of guests today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Natasha McLaren-Doerr and Cecilia Gordillo.
Yes.
Is that correctly? Cecilia is joining us from Argentina. Natasha, how about just start with you? Let's let us know what I know you just exited your firm, your cloud firm, and you started a new venture. Tell us just a little bit about yourself and about that.
Yeah, no problem. So Natasha McLaren-Doerr, I'm a CPA and studied with Cecilia. That's how we met, studying for our CPA together. It was pretty exciting. And graduated together and the whole bit. And then, we worked in, different areas of accounting, mostly in traditional practice and very traditional. I mean, the paper, the old QuickBooks desktop, the whole spiel. So very used to the traditional practice. But Cecilia and I kept meeting throughout our career and saying, there's got to be a better way. There's just got to be. Like, this is crazy. All the hours that, the way we work with clients, has just got to be a better way. And in 2016, it was when Cecilia discovered Xero. And it was a fully online platform that allowed us to work with clients in a whole different way. And so we discovered it, we dove in, and we said, hey, we got to start a new practice. We just got to do this. And so we did. We started a fully Canadian remote online practice, and it took off from there. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, we've seen practices grow pretty fast. Was that your experience too? Pretty fast growth in the cloud? Yeah. Well, Cecilia, I hope your internet connection will last. If you could just tell people a little bit about yourself and.
CGA. I actually went to school with Natasha several years ago. And after that, I started my own traditional practice at home. And then just looking for a solution how to being able to be at home most of the time, and then not to be stuck at the office, especially in tax season. We ended up finding accounting software that was on the cloud. And then we met with Natasha once. We say, yeah, this is a great idea. And then that's when we come up with the idea of starting this cloud accounting practice. So I don't know if I'm just repeating because I missed that little portion from the
yeah.
But the whole idea of the cloud accounting practice came out as a solution from our problem to being able to being more at home, or to have a little bit more flexibility, especially when we start, growing our families. And back in the day, 5-6 years ago, it wasn't as popular as what it is now, and the technology wasn't quite as what it is today. So we were able to actually work with those accounting software companies and tell them, okay, we need this, and then start giving them the input on what we were needed in the Canadian and the US market as well. So that actually gave us a little bit of upper hand in trying to make sure that whatever software is available now, it was actually matching accountants and bookkeepers' needs.
Yeah. We actually switched to Xero. I guess it's been about 1.5 years ago for our own software, for our own accounting. And I love the product. So it's been, it's so simple to use once you get it set up. So I got some questions, just like when you guys got started, did you have clients out of the gate, or did you kind of start from scratch?
Scratch.
Yeah, So we set up our website. Like we had the idea in mind. Like we knew what we wanted, and we knew it was going to be a lot of education that we were going to have to work with because people didn't really know cloud, and they were used to going to the accountant's office or like just to bring all the paperwork, right? Like to get taxes done. So we come up with, okay, so we're not going to be just a traditional accounting company. We're going to be like a tech company. And we start doing advertising as a tech company rather than an accounting company. But we didn't have any clients. So we just went out there as, okay, this is something different. This is what we can do for you. And then like we start having leads basically on the first month that we started like coming out as a cloud accounting practice.
So the growth happened right away. You really didn't have too much trouble getting clients. Did you have a special like industry or niche that you were targeting, or were you sort of just broad-based?
Broad. We were very broad, probably too broad.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest at the beginning, like we did have leads. That doesn't mean that they were like very good leads. And because, we were starting a company and then we had to make money, we were accepting basically everyone that was, coming to to our door. So at the end, like we start learning, and then as soon as we have enough clients, then we say, okay, we can work with these type of clients. And then we start getting more sophisticated in our kind of like onboarding. But at the beginning it was like everyone that needed it, like, it was welcome. That was kind of like, I don't want to say a big mistake, but it was like a big learning experience for us.
So if you had to do that startup phase again, what would you do differently, if anything?
We got really specific a couple of years in, and we realized, okay, there's just like one kind of person that we really love to work with, and we know that like we can nail it every time. And it was basically the entrepreneur. Anybody who had that entrepreneurial spirit and true entrepreneurial spirit, like they were in business because they love business and they had this small business, and we knew we can make the magic happen with them. Because the way we were delivering the service wasn't just, we're doing your taxes at year end. We're working together with you to build your company, to build your, to hit your goals, to, achieve your targets, the whole bit. And so when we mastered our communication and the way we, with the clients we had that were the ones that we wanted, then we realized, okay, this is how you market it to that group of people.
Nice. Yeah, but so that took you a couple of years to sort of really narrow in on, and it's good that you recognize it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So what I've seen with startups is they kind of fill up the capacity, and then you're like, I got to do something different. This is a little overwhelming or a little problematic. Was there a point like where you sort of felt like you'd hit a ceiling and like, okay, we got to do something different?
Yeah.
I think it was a point that we started getting anxious about like getting emails. Like as soon as you get an email, and then we felt like it's like, oh my gosh, it's probably this client again asking for something that it's not like as important as he or she thought like it was. So like when we started having those things, like, okay, we can work with these kind of clients, like because they were not aligned to us. It's like we were trying to show them what's the bottom line, what's the most important things that they should focus, and then some business owners were like, they just don't know, right? So they just focus on the things that they are not going to be beneficial for their businesses, and then they start having problems with growth. So we didn't want to focus on those clients anymore, because we found them as kind of like they were kind of like creating a job for themselves, no a company that was bigger than them. Once we found that, let's say those entrepreneurs that were creating a business and they were willing to take risks in order to create something that was bigger than themselves, that's when we realized, okay, we need to switch to that. Like we need to work with like-minded people, because it's easier when you communicate with that. Like the energy is the same, right? So when you're talking to someone, like you know that at the end of that conversation with your client, because you're at the same kind of like sync, like same energy level. So at the end of that conversation, everyone feels re-energized and like they're feeling, okay, I'm ready to go and take the next step and make sure that this is going to go somewhere. So instead of like trying to show them, well, yeah, maybe if you're not spending this money, like it wasn't a conversation about cutting expenses or where the money it's going in terms of overhead, but it was more about like, okay, how can we take this company to the next level? So that was kind of like our tipping point when we switch those conversations with our clients, and then we say, okay, this is the kind of conversation that we need to have with them that we know is going to help them grow.
So did you have these conversations with prospects, like people that were thinking about becoming clients? Did you come up with a way to have a conversation, like particular questions, like, okay, we're going to start the conversation this way, and so you used that conversation to filter who you would take on as a client and who you would not take on as a client?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We were trying to establish their values and are they in alignment with our values? Because when you share similar values, obviously, respect for time and understanding the processes, all that stuff just flows, and you're not spending your time and energy based on just trying to have the beginning conversations that you would normally have where somebody doesn't understand and they're not, their values aren't in alignment.
Yeah, I would say most accountants don't do that. What you did was really pretty remarkable, because not that most of them don't do that. I don't think that most of them do it that quickly in their startup phase. So the fact that you figured that out. One thing we've seen with cloud firms is they tend to grow really fast. They're faster growing than traditional firms. Can you speak a little bit about your growth trajectory and what you experienced?
Cecilia?
Yeah, so the first year, so we kind of like set up the first year to see how things were going. So we went right on the 6 digits mark that we wanted for the first year in revenue. Then the second year we doubled. Then the third year we double again. So it was like a 100% growth. And then on the 4th year, it was about like just like 50% grow at that time. But at that time is when we realized, okay, we want to grow with quality rather than with volume. So we let go a few of our clients, the ones that were taking that 80% of your time. And then we started working with clients that we knew that they were appreciated and they were seeing the value in what we offer.
Yeah. And how did you find these entrepreneurial clients?
I think it was mostly like just the way that we created our brand. It was all about branding, right? Like it was all about like trying to communicate with them on the website, on the advertising we did. We did a lot of like if you see like on our advertising we did, it was a video about like Mac versus PC. So it was basically like cloud accounting versus traditional. We were just trying to show, okay, this is what traditional accountants do. And this is what we do. We are completely different. We came up with the idea of like, like whatever what the accountant does, yeah, we're going to do it because we're accountants. We know how to do that. But we are also adding this to your business, which is that valuable conversation, that consulting part of the business. And they loved it. That's what they were looking for.
Well, did you? All right. So I'm gonna guess that you heard some of these things and tell me if this is true or not. Did you hear clients saying to you, man, I can't find accountants that operate this way. They all just want to focus on taxation. Where have you guys been?
Yeah.
Did you hear that sort of, did you just meet a person going through the desert looking for water for those clients?
All the time. We also heard like sometimes I skeptical. I say, well, just try us out. Like we are month to month, not to do any, like there is no commitment. And then once they were in, it was like, oh my gosh, this it's amazing because some of them, they didn't even know what to expect. And the expectations were like probably like beyond of what they were actually looking for when they were looking for an accountant or to switch to another accountant. So the referrals was actually like a great, base, a great way for us to also get new clients just because of that.
So once they experience the business growth focus, then they tell their friends about it and you get more clients, because so many, I mean, it seems like to me, and we preach this through Accounting Practice Academy, and a lot of our content is like the business owner is starving for a future-focused, results-focused CPA, and they're not getting that. They're getting a tax return or report, and that's it. And there's just such a demand out there. And so were you able to see clients grow along with you? Were you able to see the tangible result of what you were doing, make a difference for those owners? Do you have any specific examples you can think of or stories you could tell about client improvements?
Yeah, we had lots of client improvements. I think the overall was that clients were not only able to understand their accounting a lot better. That was the first step, but also they were able to analyze their business and look at it and say, yeah, I really like what you guys are doing. I like that we cut back our week so that we had more time for family. And Cecilia and I are addicted to travel, as now you don't know. And we really love to travel and we love to be everywhere. And our clients were like, yeah, that's what I want to do for my business too. So we became, leaders in that space as well. And so, yeah, it was really nice because it became this little network of people wanting to work in a similar way. And they say, if you enjoy your work, then it's not work.
Yeah.
You're just having fun. So
yes.
That was exactly our experience. So, and we just opened the doors. We were just really clear about the whole process, what accounting was. If they had any questions, we answered them. But we weren't afraid for them to be, and I found in traditional practice, that was something, it's like, you don't want them to know how to do stuff because you're worried that you're going to lose business. But we found in opening the doors and explaining absolutely everything, and here's the things that you want to think about. Yeah, it just created a really great relationship with the clients, and it had them thinking about their businesses in totally different ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, were there any, I guess, pain points that you experienced in starting a cloud firm that kind of blindsided you in any way? Were there any big surprises, or was it just sort of all the surprises on the good side, like the fast growth? Were there any, what were the big surprises that you encountered? I mean, I guess the growth probably was, sometimes growth can be a challenge.
Yeah.
A champagne problem, as I like to call them.
Yeah. I think the engagement is and we had to be really clear, and we learned that, and it took us a few years to nail that down, is the understanding their relationship and our relationship, because it's such a different way of working with your clients. And so we had to be really clear about that right from the get-go, how we work, how our process is. And the danger in not being clear about how you work with them is that they start tapping in maybe a bit too much into, they're asking more questions maybe than they should, or their expectations are a bit out of whack from what the services that you're providing. And so we learned early on, we have to be very clear about that right from the lead stage almost, just so that, the expectation is always really clear. And we met the group from Catching Clouds. I'm going to put their name in there. We met them early on at ZeroCon, and they were the ones who really said, this is one of the secrets that you need to know. If you're going into this cloud space, you really need to nail your engagement and explaining the expectations and how this process works, because it's true, there's nothing else out there like this. So it's not unreasonable for their expectations to be completely out of whack, and not in alignment with what the service you're providing. So getting really clear about that and nailing down in the engagement letter, and just being clear about it all the way along. That was one of our big lessons learned, and good to nail down. That was, I think, probably our biggest secret.
Yeah. Did you have some pain in order to realize that, oh, I really need to do that? Like, so when you got the advice, or did you get the advice before you experienced the pain? I'm just curious.
I think we experienced the pain first, right?
Yeah.
When you're out there as a pioneer, like you're making the mistakes, and then you're learning it as you go.
Right. So you gotta change it up quickly, right? You gotta double down on what works and stop doing what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Did you try anything that didn't work?
Yeah, we tried an app. We were hoping that would be like, because there were so many, we actually had a lot of people coming to us that wanted to get into the space but couldn't afford it. So Cecilia was able to network, like through a network. We got a grant with Mohawk College, and actually a federal grant. And we started an app that we were hoping that was going to, help provide some of that information for those do-it-yourselfers that would come in. But the demand for information was so high that we said, like, we can't do it. It's unfortunate because we want to help everybody, but you can only help so many, right?
Yeah.
And then if there's no profits in it, that's the other thing. So,
well, I know you guys didn't transition your firm from a traditional firm to a cloud firm. You started from the cloud, but you both worked in traditional accounting, so you have an understanding of what that's like. So, and now you guys are working with firms to help them make that migration to the cloud. What do you feel are the most common obstacles people have that have traditional firms in making that jump? Is it just the devil kind of thing? And like, what are your thoughts on those obstacles? Because I feel like the cloud model is a wonderful model, and I feel like what you're talking about with how you help your clients, like so many, I'm rambling on my question, but I feel like a lot of traditional firms have that cost focus, and clients come with that cost focus, and you're shifting that. Like, is it, what are the obstacles, and what are the mindset shifts that have to happen to switch to the cloud?
I think I'm going to say just one, and then I'm going to let Natasha to take over, just in case my comment goes away again. I think one of the biggest obstacles, like, it depends, right? Like some of them is a different generation. Like, if there is a different generation accountant, let's say, like, they are like over 50 years old, they already know their way. Like, they are so used to that way, and they are not willing to do the transition because I had to learn a lot of new things, and then I'm going to have to train these people that is already been working with a process that we know it works, and then I have my income and I'm okay with it. And they just don't want to do it because they don't see the benefit of changing. Even though, at the end, like when they retire, they could sell their practice for a lot more than just a 1 year worth of revenue. But they just, like, they're done. Like, it's okay, this is what it works, it's working for me, and then I don't want to do it. And then the new accountants, like the new bookkeepers that are willing to start a new practice, I think it's a lot of fear in a way. Like, their fear of, the fear of failure is like, it's easier just to go there and talk to someone like face to face. And as accountants and bookkeepers, we are not trained to sell. And there is a lot of selling that you had to do on the cloud, especially more, right? Because they buy you. When they buy, your monthly subscriptions, they're buying you. They're buying your energy. They're buying how much you know. So it's just like a quick conversation over the phone, or it's a quick conversation on Zoom, and that's it. So there is a little bit more of effort maybe that you had to put on that sale, as where someone coming inside your, like your practice already looking for that service. So I think it's that, like, we are not trained in school, like on how to sell our businesses. Like, we're trained on how to do the accounting, but we're not trained in how to run a business. And I think that's the biggest issue that, accountants and bookkeepers have. They're not like, they don't have the tools to start on their own, or to have that entrepreneurial mindset. Like, just from the start, like, it will come, once you start, it will come, but it's just a big kind of like jump. And some of them, they don't feel that are ready, even though I'm 100% sure that they are. Like, it's just that lack of confidence.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And it's interesting how the sales piece is a little different. Like, so getting new clients, you've got to be a little bit more open to, I guess, being thoughtful about what your sales pitch, for lack of a better word. You got to have the value. You got to be able to articulate your value. And it sounds like you guys did a great job with that, both with your website and the conversations you had. And so now, all right, so you guys sold your firm just a few months ago. So how was that experience briefly? And what are you doing now?
It was a pretty exciting experience. There was a lot of interest in the firm. And I think that's the other big benefit of having a cloud-based firm, is that, like, anybody in the country can, take over the firm. We weren't limited geographically, and we have clients all over Canada. So, like, anywhere works. And so when you offer, or when you switch over to cloud and you're doing completely virtual, you have a big base for potential leads who want to buy. And so we actually had to ask them to turn off the tabs, because they were just pouring in. And it was just a lot of work to review all of the potential candidates who wanted to meet with us. Very exciting. It was really, really exciting. And we got some really good offers out of it. 2 above asking, which was amazing. But yeah, we just, it was nice to have the option to choose who we felt was the best fit for our clients. We really appreciated that. It was a lot of work, but we really appreciate that experience.
Yeah. And now you started a new company. You want to?
We did. Yeah.
So you're helping people make the transition.
Yes. Yeah. We wrote a book in the middle of the pandemic, because we had the time. We said, like, we were helping clients. We were doing webinars for our clients, doing lots of counseling so that they could get through the pandemic, no problem. All of them did amazing through it, and like, came out to this end still, like, doing really well. So that was really exciting. But we had the extra time, even though we both have little kids, so we were looking after kids as well as running our business. We said, this is still pretty amazing. We know that some of our colleagues are really struggling right now. So we got on a couple of webinars for other bookkeepers and accountants, and just help them, how to navigate some of the new funding requirements for the wage subsidies, the rent subsidies, and all that stuff, because it was very complicated stuff, and we took the time to figure it out. And then we realized, what, that was really helpful to a lot. We should write a book. So we wrote a book, and it was published last year in June, and we've had some great sales from it. And then we said, what, we got to go even further. We got to, let's take the next step and sell our company and go on to this teaching. because we realized, it's so important. We have to help our colleagues, because it was hard hearing how difficult some of them were having it and the frustration that they were experiencing. And, switching to cloud allows you a lot of flexibility. It allows you to put more on the, computer side of things and free up more of your time to doing more of the communication with the clients. So we said, okay, let's do it. And so we started this new company that's also teaching courses on how, like, the tips and techniques that we found, things on marketing and leading, how to generate leads. And Cecilia, you want to throw in something?
My internet is a little bit choppy now, so I don't know. But yeah, so basically, like what Natasha said, it's all about, like, right now it's all about to show, like, other accountants and bookkeepers that feel that they are not ready to make that jump, that it's easy. And then once you make that extra effort to switch to the cloud, the rewards afterwards, they're just amazing, right? Like not having to work on the weekend or not having to see a client overnight, because you can work from wherever you are, or you can just, reply to a client or send a report, like, with your phone, and like in any place that you are. So all those things, they'll give you such a peace of mind. And I'll say, like, for us, like, from working full time, we ended up, like, our processes became so efficient that we were just putting about like 4 to 5 hours a day. And we were just running a full-time practice, right? Like, without having to put all those hours, like, our effort was actually not on the day-to-day work, because we were able to automate most of that, including all the bookkeeping. So our effort was on just meeting with those clients and making sure that we were, like, providing them valuable information on those meetings.
Nice. So what is the title of the book?
It's Make the Move to the Cloud.
Making a Move to the Cloud.
And our new company is going remotely for accountants and bookkeepers.
For accountants and bookkeepers. All right, we'll put links in the show notes so people can click around and find you guys. Wow, this has been a very exciting conversation. Anything you want to add before we sign off?
I guess on my side is, like, like, if you, like, any accountant bookkeeper, if you're out there thinking, I'm, like, overworked, I'm feeling burnout, we've been there. So we know that the cloud works. It's not like we don't have any, we're not getting paid for from anyone, not cloud accounting or anyone. We're not, we're not sponsorships, or we're not getting sponsorships of anyone. It's just that we know, like, we've been there. So we felt that pain, and we know that cloud accounting is going to help you save time, and then be more efficient and successful. You can focus on what is really important, and then you can feel also rewarded for what you're doing. Awesome.
Well, thank you both for coming on and sharing your story. And I think this is going to be valuable content for our listeners all across US and Canada. One thing I'll add for our US viewers, I think the practice management piece, because we have experienced both selling CPA firms in US and Canada, and our own practice management workshop called Accounting Practice Academy. And these high level things, it really doesn't matter if it's Canadian or if it's US. The details of the practice aren't really what's being communicated or taught here. It's more about the management side. Would you guys agree with that? It really doesn't matter where somebody is.
No, it doesn't matter. It's about your mindset and how you manage your clients and how you work with them.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Accountant's Flight Plan podcast. If you like what you heard today, please follow us so that you can get updates when new episodes are released, and share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. You can also follow Poe Group Advisors on social media. Please visit our website for more information at poegroupadvisors.com.